Mars has been on a direct collision course with Earth for weeks now. The destruction has already started with massive tsunamis and earthquakes. Now, our planet is beginning to crack, and gravity is significantly changing. What happens 15 days before impact? This won't be the first time Earth has had to deal with a massive collision. Over millions of years, asteroids have rained down on our planet. One of the biggest? The asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. Now, despite its massive impact on Earth and our history, that asteroid was only 10 kilometers (6 miles) wide, about the size of 90 football fields. Mars, on the other hand, has a diameter of 6,800 kilometers (4,200 miles). And it's coming straight at us. The red planet is normally about 225 million kilometers (140 million miles) away from us. But at this moment, it's just 4 million kilometers (2.5 million miles) away. From this distance, it looks like a smaller, red moon is approaching us. Now, just because it hasn't made impact yet doesn't mean we won't feel any of the effects. The moon affects the Earth's tides. So what happens when another massive celestial body comes near our planet? Well, the gravitational force would be so strong that Earth's crust would start to bulge, and our water would be rising. It could rise so violently that multiple tsunamis become a real possibility. More on that in a bit. What happens 3 days before impact? Okay, now, at just 800,000 kilometers, 500,000 miles, Mars is twice as far away from Earth as the Moon is. Given its angle of approach to Earth, we'd be looking at a red half-moon getting bigger and bigger by the minute. But the red planet is 10 times heavier than the Moon and is already tugging at everything on Earth with much greater force than the Moon could even dream of. It's creating havoc. At this point, tides are rising 30 to 50 m, 100 to 165 feet, high. Deep inside Earth, tectonic plates begin to shift and creak. But it's going to get much worse. In 36 hours, Mars will reach the same distance away from Earth as the Moon. Then the tides will rise 10 times higher than usual, 60 to 100 m, 200 to 330 feet. Vast stretches of coastal areas and cities would be flooded. Say goodbye to Miami, Venice, and any other city near a large body of water. Millions of people will drown. There will be widespread panic as people on Earth see Mars' relentless approach. Earth is starting to crack. Earthquakes shake the globe. Volcanoes erupt, covering the surrounding landscape in hot molten lava. People are running for underground bunkers, grabbing any power source available. Will they make it? Well, getting emergency assistance to one disaster site is challenging enough. Now imagine trying to do that when you've got countless disaster sites, many in remote locations. And oh yeah, most of the planet is without power because this incoming collision has wiped out our infrastructure. Fun times, right? Well, thankfully, before the big crash, some great minds were already cooking up a solution. One company called Nanonuclear Technology has been developing these fantastic microreactors. These tiny powerhouses can produce between 1 and 20 megawatts of thermal energy that can be used as heat or converted to electricity. Microreactors can be deployed and removed quickly, making them perfect for emergencies. But here's where it gets even cooler: nanonuclear. Here's the continuation. The final hours before impact. With just hours left before impact, Mars looms impossibly large in the sky. The entire world is in chaos. The gravitational forces are so extreme that entire continents are shifting. Cities are crumbling as the ground beneath them collapses. The atmosphere is thick with volcanic ash, making it difficult to see or breathe. At this point, oceans are no longer behaving like oceans. Massive walls of water are traveling inland, swallowing everything in their path. The magnetic field of Earth is fluctuating widely due to the gravitational tug-of-war between the two planets, causing widespread blackouts and deadly radiation exposure. The red planet is now less than 50,000 kilometers, 31,000 miles away. The force of its approach alone is tearing apart Earth's crust. Mountains are being leveled. Rivers are boiling. Entire regions of the planet are becoming uninhabitable, though, let's be real, nowhere is safe anymore. Then, in the final moments, Earth's gravity pulls Mars in for the inevitable impact. The collision is unlike anything humanity has ever seen or will ever see again. The sheer force of the crash releases more energy than billions of nuclear bombs going off at once. The surface of both planets is instantly vaporized at the point of impact. The blast wave travels at supersonic speeds, obliterating everything in its path. For a brief moment, Earth and Mars merge into a fiery, molten mass. But in the grand scheme of things, this isn't just the end of humanity, it's the end of Earth as we know it. The two planets fuse together, and what remains is a new, reshaped world, one that looks nothing like the blue planet we once called home. Could anything survive this? Unlikely. But if any life forms do, they'll be looking up at a completely different sky. The planet once known as Earth will be nothing more than a memory, a ghost of what was once a thriving world. Here's how the story might continue. If Aftermath, a new planet is born. The collision between Earth and Mars was the most catastrophic event in our solar system's history. The explosion sent debris flying into space, some of it forming a new ring around the smoldering remains of the planet. The sheer heat from the impact turned much of the surface into a molten wasteland. In the immediate aftermath, both planets ceased to exist in their original form. What remained was a newly merged world, a superheated sphere of molten rock and metal. The force of the impact altered its orbit, shifting it away from the habitable zone. Any remaining atmosphere was stripped away, leaving behind an inhospitable, lifeless rock. The fate of humanity. For those who managed to escape underground or into space before the impact, survival was uncertain. Underground bunkers might have provided temporary shelter, but with Earth's surface destroyed and no access to food or clean water, their chances were slim. Space stations orbiting Earth may have fared slightly better, but they had limited supplies. Without a planet to return to, the survivors would have had to find another world to colonize, or die floating in the void. A cosmic legacy. From a cosmic perspective, this disaster might not be the end of everything. Over millions of years, the new planet might cool down and stabilize. If an atmosphere somehow reformed, and conditions became favorable, life, perhaps microbial at first, could eventually return. But one thing is certain, the Earth as we knew it would be gone forever. Humanity's legacy, if any remained, would be buried beneath layers of rock and history, waiting for some distant alien civilization to discover the ruins of a once thriving world. The final lesson? Space is unforgiving. And in the grand scheme of the universe, even entire planets can be wiped away in an instant.